Hello guys. Okay. Yep, I'm in school. To another part of NUS. Okay. Right. So I think as many of y'all who have seen my Instagram story, who have heard the news. Yep, I went for this rapid tournament by ACA yesterday, and I am quite happy with my performance, as you can see in this screenshot over here. 5.5 out of 7 points. I think that's really one of the best tournament performances I had in recent times. Yeah. Yeah, so of course, I'll be doing the mandatory game recap, and yeah, I'll be going through like about 3 to 4 games. And actually, one of the games, which is game number 5, it was, I think, Junior Tay was very kind to analyze it for me. So for that game, I'll be using most of his annotations as part of my recap. Okay, so without further ado, let's go into the analysis. Go up and okay, so this is game number 2 from the Asean Chess Academy Welcome 22 Rapid Tournament. I'm taking the black pieces. And yeah, the time control is 20 plus 0, no increment. Again. So yeah, as you all know, I've always had trouble with no increment tournaments. I don't know how I'm going to fare in for this particular one. But yeah, anyway, let's go. D4, D5, knight C3, okay. And the moment my opponent went for this, I started with a feeling that um she's trying to play the London defense, but she doesn't really know how to play it. Like usually, I think those who are familiar with it, you don't really see the knight coming here. Usually in the London, you see C3, E3 forming this pawn diamond, knight D2, knight F3, and then very solid and safe development. And white just basically sits around waiting for black to go C5 or E5. But anyway, the game goes on C6. Knight F3, Queen B6. And here you really see why one of the main problems in the London, which is because the bishop is developed so early, so you're going to have troubles defending this. And precisely because, Yes, he has played knight c3 instead of c3, so there's not really this nice maneuver queen c2 to defend the pawn. So probably he has to play like b3, but then of course that always leads to this very annoying pin here and the weakening of the dark squares. Or rook to b1, which is usually quite common here. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. My opponent defends with queen to c1, right? Really okay, but you see this, the problem is that now he also weakened this. And I am trying to exploit it. I play bishop to g4 over here. Of course, he has to defend the pawn, otherwise, I'm going to take it and get this free pawn. So e3 is played. Now e6. I mean, I can get double pawns here, but I think not really worth it. Yeah, the open file is going to be too risky. So e6 by black, at e5. And the next couple of moves is just both of us developing very normally. And finally, it ends here, knight b d7, queen to d2. So you see the problem with queen to c1? Like now, white has to make a few awkward moves to try and get this queen out, get this rook here. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh, yep. Okay, Kristen, I'm getting your notifications now. So yes, I will not ignore you this time. Okay, very good. Yeah, so here I do have a slight space disadvantage, but I'm really okay. Like again, this knight is not doing black or white any justice. The pieces, this queen is just really stupid. I mean, this bishop also is doing jack shit over here. The knight is getting in the way. On the other hand, compared to my bishop, I always have knight e5. If I want to, yeah. Oh yeah, let's go. I go for knight takes e5 here. And the whole idea is that if my opponent goes d takes e5, then I play knight to d7. I have a weak pawn here. If he goes bishop takes e5, I can't remember what I have in plan here. Oh yes, I play knight to d7 anyway. Yeah. Then I have c5, which I think will be quite strong here because again white hasn't played c3 and this knight is looking stupid. Yeah. Stream court. Yes. No, stream court usually there's a delay when they ping on Discord. Yeah, I notice every time I start streaming, it's always like about 30 seconds, 1 minute before it there's a day. Oh, 6 minutes. Serious. Cannot be lah. I'm quite sure I don't wait for 6 minutes before I start talking. Yes, this is a Caro. Eh? No, it's not. It's a very weird London. But you'll see more. I think you'll see one Caro game later. So yeah, over here in my opponent captured bishop takes e5, then knight d7 comes in, and c5, and yeah, life is good for me. So instead, my opponent goes for, what did he go for? D takes e5. So knight d7 now. I can actually play knight e4, but I don't really like the idea of giving away this knight so like white can just play knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, and now you see I've helped white to solve one of their problems, which is a very awkward knight. And now I free up this pawn. So yeah, literally now white can just go c4 and they have counterplay, basically. Like I can try and hold, I'll go rook f8 here, but after takes, and yeah, basically white has play and I'm not so inclined to give them that kind of counterplay so easily. So I don't go knight e4. I keep the knight there in its awkward position. Yeah. Rook is hanging if on c4. Bishop can. Yeah. I didn't realize. Yeah, then possibly rook c1, then c4 lah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hello Paul. Yeah. Yeah. Hope I see you tonight if you're going for the Monday 22nd. Yeah, but c4 is always an idea lah. If I allow this knight trade to happen. Yeah, so anyway, knight to d7 and bishop f3. Now the plan here is quite obvious. Like even though it's look a bit stupid, like biting on this pawn chain, what is actually planning e4, right? I continue with my plan. Queen to c7. Now you see this point is a bit stupid, right? I'm gonna take knight d6, drop e6 if they're not careful. And so my opponent goes e4 here. Like there's really no time to waste. And here I took quite a few minutes on my next move because there's really a critical question here, which is do I take or do I retreat? Um, I look at the lines where I captured, and it is actually pretty scary. Oh, what's the time control? 20 plus 0. Yeah, no improvement. All the ACA tournaments are 20 minutes with no improvement. So I was looking at this line, d takes e4, bishop takes e4, and takes. Now you see this knight is going to come here, right? And it might look quite threatening. I can try to grab the free pawn, but yeah, you see there's this pin. So black really needs to be very careful. For example, I can't play bishop f6, I can't play bishop e6. I will just exchange off and then I am in trouble. White is gonna go for one of these rooks here and apply more pressure in the center. And actually here, right, if let's say white goes like d1, I think the only move for me here is f6. Yeah, I try to break the pin and basically just run away. Yeah. And so after, let's say, they exchange, in this resulting position, I am a pawn up, but I mean, I'm a pawn up. I have some open files I can play on, but yeah, this double pawns is going to be very weak. I mean, the knight is there blockading. White can just play. I mean, white can just play this, try and hit this. Yeah. What if white goes queen c3 immediately to go after the knight? Let's see. Queen c3 here. Here. Ah, you mean doing this part, right? Queen c3, yeah, playable also, I think. Here, rook b d1, queen to c3. Yeah, I think f6 here. That's really the only other move. Yeah. And again, takes, we have the same position again. So, yeah. Playable. I can try to hold this with a pawn up, but my opponent has a lot of play. So, I wouldn't really want to go for it. So instead, I chose to retreat the bishop. Bishop g6. I also spent a lot of time calculating this line. And the reason why it's so tricky is because after pawn takes pawn, this actually looks very scary for black. By the way, obviously you do not take here because they're just losers on the spot, right? Yeah. So after the pawn takes pawn, you see that now the knight is coming, it's going to jump into d6, but I saw that actually black has no issues. Because after queen to b6, knight d6, I have this very nice tactic, knight takes e5. Right? And of course, the whole idea is, you remove the defender, now you're going to win a piece, or at least a pawn if white is not careful. So bishop takes e5, trade off, I'll be very happy. So my opponent says, no, I'm not going to trade off. But anyway, after this, we just play a few more moves. White drops a few more pawns. I manage to advance my pawn center, break the pin, exchange off another pair of bishops, and white is completely winning here. Let's say black is completely winning. You give me 1 hour, both sides 1 hour, I can convert this very easily. Right, so I said at the beginning of the game that there's going to be a plot twist in this game, and now I'll review it. I think you can figure out by the score. The score is there. You notice that I lost this game, right? Like, why? I'm completely winning. Yeah, for those of you who know me well, you can sort of guess why, right? I didn't play F5. Yeah. But yeah, so I lost this game on time. Yeah. The game continued on for actually quite a long while. I think I was basically like trying to advance this pawn center, trying to trade off the queens, everything. I managed to give my opponent back 1 or 2 pawns. We traded off into the rook endgame where I was 1 pawn up. But by then, I was down to about 10 seconds on my clock. My opponent at 1 minute, and it was basically a massive flagging exercise. Yeah, and I I couldn't last. I couldn't convert the win. I lost some time. That's really the brutality of low increment time controller. Hello, Jaden. Yeah, nice to see you on the Instagram live. I see Andrew has joined as well. Yeah, by the way, Andrew joined. Was playing together with me yesterday. He got a very respectable 5 out of 7 score, fifth position, second in the unrated category. Yeah. But yeah, very tragic. And it's very painful because this was actually the only loss that I had in this entire tournament. Uh, in a completely winning position. But yeah, that's chess for you. So you just completely blow one winning position because you can't manage your time well, and yeah, there's really no excuse. Right. Alright. Um okay, so let me go to another game. Yeah, I'll go on to game number I'll go to game number 5. Right. I think this was okay, and then I need to update the stream titles. So now this is round 5, right? Yeah, so this game number 5, right? Actually, I actually sent it to Junior Tay who analyzed it for me as I've mentioned at the beginning of this stream. And yeah, really nice of him to do so. I really thank him for it, and I'll be using most of his annotations in today's stream and adding on a bit of my thoughts. Right. So in here, I was playing the white pieces against my opponent, who is an AFM. Right. I mean, yeah, the name does sound a bit familiar, but I cannot really place where they are from. But yeah, anyway, let's go. D4 9 6. I employ my favorite King's Indian Manchato variation, right? With castles E4. I mean, all of this is very standard E5, and of course, if I push, then it becomes a very mainline King's Indian. I can also wait for them to take, then that becomes a Morality bind, right? So, Bishop E3 instead, right? Bishop G5 here is playable, I think. But yeah, Bishop E3 is, I mean, both are playable. And rook to E8, which is a rather peculiar move from black. Like, Junior didn't like this move. Because usually in the King's Indian, you want to play like knight E8, F5, F4. You know, you want to keep the rook here to support the king side. So rook E8 really is like wasting some time. And yeah, I didn't capitalize on it. I went knight E1. Junior suggested D5, going into a very mainline King's Indian simply because since black has wasted time on this move, then I think I will have more chances going for my kingside attack, queenside advance. Yeah, because I'm ahead of tempo. No idea. Instead, I went for knight E1. This is also quite standard in this Catalan Manchato positions. The idea is knight C2, holding up and opening the diagonal for this bishop. Right. Black played the inaccurate move here. They basically gave me what I want, which is a very nice center. Right? Almost like a Morality bind, if you ask me. I think Junior pointed out this very interesting move, knight G4. So the whole idea is after queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, then actually black has quite good chances here because you have the two bishops. And more importantly, they are going to open up the center. And the two bishops actually become quite annoying in this position. Right. Yeah, anyway, that wasn't played. E takes D4 was played instead. Bishop takes D4, I'm very happy, right? Knight C2 is going to follow next. Knight E5, standard move. I have to protect this pawn. B3, and C5 now. And quite an inaccurate move, in my opinion. Because like, you're just giving me this weak pawn, you're just giving me this weak square. And from prior experience, I know that having this square is always something very nice for white. Yeah. I mean C5 is playable in many King's Indian lines. Usually it's followed up with A6, B5, rook B8, and then you attack down the king side. Yeah. In Junior points that out in his analysis. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, I put the link to Junior's analysis on ChessBase inside the description. I'll put it on my Twitch stream afterwards as well, so that y'all can refer to it as well. Yeah. Yeah, anyway here, bishop takes D5. Now if rook takes e5, if pawn takes e5, you just copy your own bishop. I have knight d5, life is good. So rook takes e5 instead. Rook to c1 to prevent any tactics. Rook to e8. I don't know what the heck Black is thinking of over here, but now knight to d3. So you see, already I'm looking at putting stuff onto that square. Queen to a5. It can be a bit annoying, this move, but it's not really useful, this queen. Doing apart from being annoying. Yeah, because you notice that by pushing c, usually queen a5 is played because you want to swing this queen over to the king side. Yeah, and retain some of that flexibility. But now it's not possible because of this c5 push. So this move really limits the potential of this queen a5 maneuver. Yeah. What Junior suggested here instead was something like a6. Sorry, a6. Yep. The idea is you prepare rook b8, b5. Sorry, b5, right? And actually, when you go for this general queen side advance, it does justify the c5 pawn move over here. Yeah. Yep. Hello, Kira. Yeah, but instead queen a5 was played. Yep. I mean, I do have to be careful also. If I'm not careful, suddenly like bishop takes and then queen takes and yeah. Oh, sorry. So knight f4 here. Going with my usual plan. Uh, rook d8. I don't know. I don't know. I definitely do not like that move. But I don't know what other move does white versus black really have here. Like I did consider like bishop g4. I think that was one of the moves that I was looking at. And for this, I planned a very simple f3. Yeah, f3 supporting the center. I mean, never mind that my bishop looks stupid because like eventually I'm just going to like relocate it onto a different diagonal. Yeah, so anyway, with the 8, queen to c2, take some protection here. Okay, so knight to g4 instead of the bishop, the knight goes there. Fair enough. Knight d5, bishop e6. I mean, I was expecting some really weird tactics over here, like trying to pressure f2, but I think that wouldn't work out in black's favor. And besides, anytime I can just kick out the, I can just play h3, kick away the knight if I wanted to. So anyway, bishop e6, h3 now, right? Just to keep my position safe. Knight to e5. I was expecting knight to f6, and if that happens, I won't trade. I'll just keep it there. Yeah, yeah. Possibly trade and yeah, many things. I can even go for kingside attack here if I want to. Yeah. Alright, so knight e5 played. And here I go f4. Normally this is not a good idea. It's not because you open up the lines in front of your king. But I dare to go for this move because first of all, the queen is stuck on the other side of the board. Like how the hell are you going to get back? Right? If funny things happen on the king side, your queen is gone. Your queen is a spectator. And so I'm okay to to play this. And eventually f5 will be very strong. Yeah. I didn't play f3. Well, if I play that, I'll cry, man. Yep. Knight to c6. No, actually f3 is playable in some lines, especially if your g2 bishop gets traded away. Yes, you play in a few games, you just hold on to the center in a very typical Marazzi blind style, and you just push in the center. Yeah, that's the whole point. So f3 is playable in certain situations. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you lose point the band fine go. I mean, I'm of the opinion that if you don't play Karo Khan, you will lose also. So anyone who doesn't play Caro-Kann will lose according to the frontal panzer, right? You can say that now to your friends. Yeah, so anyway, back to the game. F4, knight c6, and here it looks a bit worrying again. So there's this moves, you can get an outpost here, you can get an outpost here, double attack. And I'm a bit worried because I can't really move my knights. Right? Let's say if I move this away, then this, I mean obviously I'm not gonna move there, but you get the idea. But if I move this knight one day, knight b5 is gonna come in, right? I need to guard this carefully because there's going to be tactics here. If I say bishop takes, knight takes, yeah, can't really plan knight b4. Must be knight e4, then I'll run over to the other side. So yeah, actually even though knight c6 does look a bit worrying, I figured out that as long as white holds his position, doesn't move the pieces around unnecessarily, then I'm fine here. So what I really want to do is I sit and improve my position first. And I play king to h2. So just getting away from any annoying checks here. Yeah. And so now, yeah, if I think Paul was putting on knight b4 looks very strong, right? But I just take off. I just take. Then what are you gonna do? Maybe I go back here. Yeah. I was worried that f4 was an inaccuracy also, but I think now I would safely justify it. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, knight b4 wasn't played here, right? Instead, bishop takes d5. Junior, they gave this move a question mark for obvious reasons. You just trade off your bishop pair for no good reason. Of course, I have to play knight takes d5 to stop this, and now I have funny nonsense like this, like that. Yeah, a lot of very nice outpost energy right here. Because now black goes knight d4, you notice both of us have an outpost. But after queen f2, my outpost is more useful than black's outpost because I have more squares, I have more space, I'm going to strike in the center with f5. Right? So knight c6 now, I think my opponent is starting to wonder what the heck he can do over here. And he wants to evacuate this square that this bishop come in, but so I have to strike now, f5. Right? Because I can't do anything here. I can't target this anymore, but I have a lot of energy down here. Yeah, all my pieces are there. I have to play f5 now. So the d4, queen to f4, bishop to e5. I mean, I must thank the black bishop for being so cooperative to let my queen into the king's position, right? And now queen takes a2. Yeah, this really is a challenge to me. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go around grabbing pawns. If you want, you can try to attack my king, and if you're able to. And f6 by me, which like I thought this was a very strong move, but actually Junior pointed out that it is an inaccuracy. Because if black plays very accurately with king to h8, if he plays very accurately with king to h8, queen to h6, you think he's going to get mated, but oh no, rook to g8 comes in and suddenly my attack is stopped, and if I have nothing else to continue, black is going to run away with this. I think I can still continue, h4, h5, but it's tricky. Yeah. Instead of f6, Junior recommended rook f4. Yeah. Of course, the idea is you come here, you mate, you maintain attention here, you try to open files. But it's tricky. Yeah, because like first of all you give out the exchange. Right? And sure if white has a decisive attack here, but definitely white still looks better. Let's say for example, g takes f4 and queen takes b3, let's say for example. Then you have knight to f6. King, sorry. Sorry. Let me just go back here. Yeah, then you have like something like this, and then knight h7, queen h6, e5, f6 to and then slowly, I think you have to slowly trap the like king in the mating net for yeah, and usually in attacking chess, knight knight and bishop, sorry, knight and queen is more than enough to deliver mate. Yeah, it is quite hard to find, honestly, but yeah, in rapid chess, I think anything goes. Anyway, back to this position. F6 is played, and here my opponent just blundered. He didn't find king to h8. Instead, they found queen takes b3, which loses on the spot because now I have the very simple rook to f3. By the way, if I can still mess up with this and then I get mated, right? But yeah, rook f3 just saved the day. Like now, what are you gonna do? Either you lose the queen or you're gonna get mated. Like you can't stop this. You can't stop. And I say for example here, I don't think. Yeah, there's really no way you can stop. And actually, yeah, white is just winning here. Um, digressing a bit, I think there's one point here. I think I was a bit worried about, or maybe not this. Yeah, I was a bit worried about knight e5. Knight e5, knight e2, bishop takes g3, right? But yeah, I just play king h1 and white is safe. So let's say for example f6, knight e2, e6 takes here, and then yeah, black is going to get beaten. Yeah, back to this position. Yeah, actually white is winning here, and I'm just going to show the rest of the game. My opponent just pretty much gave up. Yeah. But it wasn't easy. Like, the time here, I didn't show it, but I think by this point, I was down to my last 1 minute. Sorry, last 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, my opponent was about 2 to 3 minutes as well. Yeah, hello. Hey, hello, Sebastian. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. Um, I'll just show the rest. I am quite happy to say that I found all the correct moves. Right. I'll just slowly make him. I think by the point I reached this stage, I had like less than 1 minute on my clock. Yeah, again, I was in time trouble. Very trademark of me now. As always. Yep. 5 viewers on my stream now. Very happy. Yep. Yeah, classic now. I know. Kira, I hope you are still. You are still not get. You are still. I hope you are not getting time trouble anymore. Games. Yeah, the no equipment game is tough for people who can't manage their time properly. Right. Okay. Um, I'll go through 2 more games to see whether I have the time. And whether can win when are your dreams. No, I'm kidding. We'll see. You want NSI UH3 will volunteer as helper lah. Then you can see all the funny things that happen when people share screen. Yeah. I digress. I need to change my title. Hey, for real, you know when you are a helper, right? Then you go and watch the screens of the people playing chess, and then you look at all the blunders which they are about to make, right? It really gives you a heart attack. Okay, round 6. Yep, round 6. Okay. Cool. I must make sure not to. I need to keep this restream app open. Otherwise, I'm going to not get this notification. Yeah, of course, King E2 is a wonderful move. I mean, even Carlsen and Nakamura played it at the highest level. You can always learn from them. And if your coach ever criticizes you, just say, hey, Carlsen and Nakamura played it. Yeah. Yeah, round 6. This will be a shorter one. Yeah. But yeah, I have the black pieces. My opponent, I played with him at least once before. Yep, Jason from Yishun Town, I think. Yep. Yeah, e4, c6. So I can mentally hear Kristen and Kira happy voices. d4, d5, exchange Huracan, pawn off of Vinic, knight to f6, and go for my favorite g6 line. So the whole idea is I try to pressure this pawn over here, right? Bishop f4. Well, I mean, Sudash is not watching his screen, so who cares, right? Castles, bishop to e2. Um, the most testing line in the pawn off of Vinic is queen to b2, queen to b3. And actually, in this line, right, black has to almost always give up this pawn and and try and win back the double pawns in the result. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Sebastian. I mean, look. All of y'all all of y'all are underrated, man. Come on, like Sebastian. The moment you get a FIDE ID, I'm quite sure you'll jump up to like six, like 1800 or something. As long as you play overseas, don't play in Singapore. Otherwise, I will. You are? Okay. Yeah, come on, Kira, you don't even have a, you don't even have a FIDE rating. Come on, you will get one eventually. Don't worry. Yeah. So yeah, instead of queen to b3, we have bishop to e2 here. And here, there are a couple of options for black, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm quite sure you go anywhere other than Singapore, you can farm all the 1900s for a lot of us. It's really just Singapore. Uh, If you want to survive the spiders in Singapore, in Australia, I think here you need to survive because of you need to survive all the taxes and cost of living. Yeah, but anyway, like I was saying here, there are a couple of options for black. Um, Knight a6, knight c7 is something that was recommended before. But knight a6, there's the problem knight b5 and your knight kind of gets stuck and really looks really sad. Yeah. Bishop b7, b6, bishop b7. Also to hold on to this pawn, and let's say one day black takes here, then yeah, bishop b7 to attack that pawn. You can take as well, right? And try to make white look stupid by moving the bishop twice, but yeah, this pretty much plays into what white wants, which is the isolated pawn position and a lot of dynamic play. I mean, you can just play bishop takes s7 here if you are J or if you are Big Tel, right? Right? I think bishop g5 also playable. Here I went for a peculiar move, b6, which actually now that I look back is not really the most accurate move, and you will see later why. Right? Castles first. Okay, so there was this very funny move, I think. Knight b5. So of course the idea is this very classic knight c7. You trap the rook and things get very nasty. Over here I'll just reply knight h5. You run away, then your knight is the one that's looking stupid now. Right? So instead castles, so the b7, c5 now. And actually this is the reason why b6 might not be so accurate, because first of all, now this bishop looks stupid. Like, put a bishop here because you anticipate pawn takes, and now you are staring at your own pawn. c5, and now there's a hook here. It will either take or just let it there, right? And it's a bit awkward. Just to put in the list. Knight to c6 because nothing better to do. I'll try and put more pressure here because there's a whole reason I put my bishop here. a3 now, so I'm gonna push b5 if I don't do anything. And here I had a very very long thing actually, about 5 minutes, which is like forever in a 20+0 game. yeah, I thought of a lot of plans. A5 doesn't work because of queen to b3. I think that's the reputation here. And then there's a lot of horrendous stuff over here. Um, I was trying very hard to make this e5 counter attack work, but it really doesn't. Like 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 rook ea knight, like for example knight h5. Um, you can just go back. Yeah, you can just retreat. Hold on to this pawn. No, nothing much. Yeah, maybe right now e5 takes. Suddenly this is weak. And there's this. Yeah. Yeah, so very annoying. And like if you want e5, that's one of the cases where you really wish that your bishop was here. So they can play bishop g4. Try and stop this so it can't hold on to e5. Yeah, that's not played. Bad. What else was I considering here? I think knight e4 didn't work out as well. Like knight e4 was also quite stupid. Like bro, what the hell are you doing? So yeah, I think that leaves me with the last option, which was to take the pawn. It looks stupid also. Because like takes, and then you just allow your opponent to play b5. Bro, like what? But here, um, I do have some saving grace because of knight h5 now. Now that is playable. You go back, I will just I will trade away this bishop and then I will try to push e5 going for counterplay. The whole idea. And also, you trade here, you open out this diagonal. Now one needs to be careful. If I want to, I can also take here and double your pawns and then where's your queen side majority? You have two queen side majority. Come on. Right? And here, yeah, really the best move is from d3, right? Instead, my opponent goes bishop e3 and the game is over because of d4. Yep. And this is really testament to the victory of the the bishop g6 idea because I really can't take. You capture on d4, yeah, basically white ends up a piece down. Right. But my opponent didn't resign here. I just stopped recording at this point. It continued on for about 20 more moves. And by the time my opponent resigned, again I was down to my last minute. As usual, typical now, I know. Yeah. But nice win. This was one of my best wins as black in this game. The other black wins were mostly just me beating up my opponent. Who didn't know how to play. Yeah, okay. I actually do want to make one more comment about my opponent. Uh, I noticed that okay, because ACA they had two tournaments on the same day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The one that I went for was the afternoon tournament. My opponent played in both tournaments. Like he scored, he scored 6 out of 7 in the first one, 5 out of 7 in this one. He got first place in in the first tournament. Like first of all, who the hell plays 14 rapid games in one day? That's insane. But yeah, the fact that he's still playing quite well even at this stage after playing like 10 plus games and comes gets faced off against me. I think that shows that they do have a lot of energy and they are actually quite strong. Yeah, man, dude, 14 rapid games in one day. I can't. I cannot. I cannot. Yeah. Sorry, I owe already. Yeah. I'm not kidding. Yeah, 14 games. Yeah, 14 games. And he still plays well. Yeah, I mean, you guys are young and a lot of energy. You can do it. Right? Okay. Yeah, let's move on. Okay, so this is my last game, and oh yeah, my last round against Ananda, the top seeded player, 1600. And before I start, I want to make a cautionary note that this game, the recording ended quite early, and the last few moves were not very were not they are debatable. Yeah. So I mean it's a pity because it was a very exciting game and I wish I captured all of it lah, but rapid, time trouble. So yeah, it opens d4, knight f6, and we have the Catalan opening. Very getting more and more popular these days because of the Carlsen Nepo World Championship match that came through. I think Carlsen has been using it more recently. There was one game against Richard Report in the Tata Steel where he employed the same opening as well. D5. So this is the very typical main lines, and here usually um then black goes D takes C4. That's the open Catalan, right? So that is not played here. Instead, my opponent goes for a rather peculiar line, which I actually have not played against before. He goes for B6. So I'm not sure whether he has seen this opening before or whether he's trying to relate it to the Queen's Indian defense, where both players are their bishops are basically just staring off at each other on the long diagonal. But here I don't know, I'm not sure about the accuracy of this particular line because in a lot of these variations, white's bishop will always be better off than black's, especially when the diagonal opens. Because this bishop will always be hanging, right? Whereas on the other hand, when white castles, yeah, that basically the tactics work in white's favor. Knight f3, bishop to b7, and in the rest of this is mostly quite standard opening play. Bishop to f4, bishop g5 playable as well. If knight to castles, if let's say knight to h5, I'm just going to be very happy I let it stay there. Let's say for example, here, this very, like 4 pawns variation, right? Very beautiful. And then this very aesthetic open file for me to attack. Yeah, I mean, that's not great. Castles, knight e5 now. Again, a very typical Catalan move. The idea is that he's going to play knight c6 very soon and put some pressure on this. So knight e5 first. Knight b d7. I ignore it. Okay, this one is a bit inaccurate. I was debating between this and knight d2. I mean, both are very standard developing moves. But yeah, I set up for queen c2 instead. And now again, you see that he can't take here, right? Even if he wanted to, because again, this bishop is hanging. That's why I feel that this might not be the most accurate. If rook b8 now, then knight d2, I'm going to play e4, rook e1, and then just start my king side attack. So I think, yeah, my opponent spent a bit of time here, and he went for c5, which is understandable because if you don't do anything, your pieces are not so well placed, and you're just going to get whacked. So you need to strike back immediately. D takes c5. Okay, I also spent a lot of time on here. I think e3, b3, they look a bit stupid. Yeah, e3 just kills our own bishop. So I take. And the idea is that there's this line here where black gets the double pawns. Yeah, Sebastian, I remember that game. That was the very messed up Karo Khan line that I have been trying to recommend to Kira to play just for the fun of it. Yeah, e takes d5, and back to the game. This double pawn is a very classic um, motif where black tries to push the double pawns, try to push this pawn couple, tries to make a pass pawn, and white will try to stop it. And my opinion of this is that whites will stand slightly better in holding it. Black's pieces aren't the best developed, especially this e7 bishop. They are not very well equipped to protect this pawn pair. On the other hand, white can easily target it. So I think it will be slightly better for white over here. Yeah. That wasn't played. Bishop takes c5 was played, which is, I think that's the strongest move. Obviously, you're seeing these motifs again. Knight to d3 now. This is what I saw when I was calculating bishop takes c5. Yeah. Right. So he has to retreat because otherwise, I don't know. Yeah, he needs to keep the bishop. Yes. Takes. Now, obviously you don't take because that's not the isolated pawn position which you want to play, right? I think this might have been a bit more tricky, but again, there's always this tactics here. So I think that's why he went for bishop to d5. Now knight to c3, developing takes. c8, okay, I have to move all the way. Bishop to c5, okay, c1, rook e8, rook fd1. And I think I'm better here. Do you agree? My pieces are slightly better placed. Now, maybe these knights can be better positioned, but this bishop is very nice. Yeah, he's going to play e5 sooner or later, but I can always stop that very soon. If time being knight e5, I always have the knight b4 and then force my way in that kind of motives as well. If I want to, I can always relieve the pressure, trade here and then knight b4. Yeah, that's also another way. And his queen is in a rather awkward position. His rook also is rather awkward. And that is why he plays rook. I think that's why he plays queen to e7 to try and guard over this square and then connect the rooks. Knight takes c5 now. Knight takes c5, knight to b4, so I go for my plan. And now e5. And here I think I made a mistake here. I went for bishop to g5, and this leads to some very nasty tactics. The other way is bishop e3, but you know, I always want to keep the line open for my pawn. I think at one point I was also considering, let's look back. Yeah, at one point I was also considering e5, e4. E5, e4. I think that's because I really want to stop e5. And that's also another reason why he plays queen to e7. I think like e4 here, I think he just play e5. Black has, yeah, I see now black has this hole here, which can be, it basically neutralizes a lot of black, a lot of white's play here. Yeah, anyway, moving back. So let's go back to the main line. Yeah, e5. I think I played inaccurately by allowing black to get e5 in, and bishop g5 basically is a mistake. Because of this, queen b7 check, rook g1, knight e4. Right? People have different stress in different time controls, right? There's no shame already. And actually, there's no way for me to guard the rook, to guard the bishop. Queen e3, I think that's forced, and f6. H6 is possible, but you really don't want this to happen. So f6, yeah, I got no choice. Takes. I think that's one of the reasons behind knight e4 as well. Trying to stop this, but it's very risky now. I really can't see what else to do here. Like I can't sack and do any nonsense. I can try to go here, but I think you can just very easily parry threats. So knight d6, rook takes. Trying to get whatever resources I have lah. Get my rook in, playing however I can. Then knight d6 immediately instead of queen. I think that's a blunder. Knight d6. Queen c7. Oh no, yeah, that's horrendous. Maybe I just place. Maybe I just takes. Yeah, this bishop is still in trouble. Cannot be so. Might be tricky. I don't think knight d6 is possible. Yeah, anyway, let's move on. I was over here. Right. Black plays king to g7 after a long think. I think he's aware of the threats in his position. Right. Rook c d1. And here, I can't remember exactly what Black played because I stopped the recording by then. I think both of us were down. Both Like me and my opponent were down to about 4 to 5 minutes on the clock. Yeah, and the position is really getting tricky. I think he played a6. I can't remember, but that was basically a blunder because that allows b4. And you see the idea. If this knight retreats, suddenly this comes in, and actually that's a problem when you put a king and rook and king on the same file, right? With only one defender to defend that. Um, yeah, my black knew that he messed up, so he had to. And he chose to give up the knight over here and try and rely on this last pawns to save the day for him. Unfortunately, it didn't work. And again, I can't remember what was the final moves of this game, but it went something along the lines of queen to d3, and then he dropped another pawn, something like this. Yeah, basically he was trying to capitalize on this c pawn here. Queen to e4, then I tried to infiltrate like along this, and then hit this weak pawn over here. c3, queen to g4, king to h8, queen to f5, stopping this in time. e2 rook c1, and then I think yeah, I stopped the PGN here because I really can't remember the resulting moves after this. But what happened was that he dropped this pawn. He dropped this pawn. I managed to get my rooks, my queen. This rook ended up here. This rook ended up here. My queen ended up here. His rook was here. His queen was here. His other rook was here lah. So very funny. Yeah. And at that point, we were down to 2 minutes on our clock push. So it was a very wild game. And after all the trades, I was basically 2 points up. Then we ended the game with less than 1 minute. And we finally resigned. But wow, that was a very wild game. Who, who can calculate the position of most of the help. Yeah, that was a very wild game. And I think one of my best over the board games. Like, I've defeated 1600s before, but that's online. Yeah. You all know online and over the board chess is very different. Yeah. Yeah, but really, this game could have gone either way. You're strong. I was about to lose at certain points. I think I was quite lucky that he allowed this comeback to happen, this b4 to happen. But yeah, it was a very nice game. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, um, yeah. Overall, I am very happy with my play yesterday. Except for the second game, with that really horrible plot twist. So I think wrapping up, I would say okay. Let me just go. Oh goodness, I didn't change this title. It's still on round 6. Never mind. It's too late already. I just change the scene. So yeah, to recap, right? Yeah, I'm happy with my performance. I think I get winning positions in almost all my games actually. Like the the only time I lost was the second game where I lost on time. But do I want to rate someone? I don't know how to rate. I'm sorry. Yeah, but Kira can start a stream if the Berlin internet allows it. TP my sports, you can start a stream and then I try to rate y'all lor. But yeah lor, I'm happy. I think one of the things I still need to improve on is obviously my time management. Um, yeah, it's not as bad as the last tournament, I must say. Like here, I'm still managing to convert a lot of positions within the 20+0 group, but I am still facing those problems, especially in my game 2. But yeah lah, 20+0 is really a whole different ball game. I don't know how y'all manage 15+0 in the varsity tournament. I will die, honestly. Yeah. But yeah lor. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for watching the recap. I don't know when's the next time I will be back streaming. Maybe the weekends. If do some elo guesser, do some entry again, or maybe KCF. Yeah, KCF tournament is going to happen in 2 weeks' time. I'll be playing, and hopefully from there I can do a recap of a few more games. Yep. You died 15+0. Yeah, I think a lot of people died now when there's no equipment. I think Kira can attest to that also, if you're still here. Yeah, but other than that, yep, thank you everyone for watching today. Oh, it's 4 already. It's been over an hour. Yep. Yeah, I'll end the stream now. Thanks guys, and see you.